how to deal with shuls in which there are many different adot who have come together. And last week we saw the Rav Kook says that you're not supposed to really change the minhag of your forefathers, and that Rav Kook himself and Rav Tzvi Yehuda adhered by that principle, and always even spoke Ashkenazis. So that was what we've seen till now. And when we mentioned that, actually, last we mentioned that there are 12 Sharim and Shamayim, which indicate that you should not change from your Shar, and that besides that, the Kabbalists say there's a 13th gate for people who don't know their gate, and depending on who you are, you either claim that that is Edot HaMizrach, or you claim that that is the Zachari of Chabad. Okay, now we're up to Bays in this handout. Berovam Hadras Melech. Based on what we said previously, it would have been appropriate to make many minyanim as possible. In order to allow each davener to preserve the nusach of his forefathers. However, many times the will to fulfill, to have many minyanet tefillah, pogea b'achdus hakila, damages the unity of the kila, uvikaron shel Rovam Hadras Melech, and the principle of the Rovam Hadras Melech. Now, I do not believe that he's going to bring this down later on, so it's important to mention that Rav Moshe Feinstein was asked many years ago about the city of Scranton, Pennsylvania. The city of Scranton, Pennsylvania had many small minyanim, and evidently they were not particularly thriving. And they asked him whether they could all combine into one big minyan. And of course, then they'd have, besides everything else, the Maila of Rovam Hadras Melech. What do you think Rav Moshe answered?
I have no idea.
It's a trick question, obviously, so what's the answer?
So if it's a trick question, he probably told them not to combine.
That's correct. He told them not to combine. The reason he told them not to combine is because as the fusion of shuls throughout the city will mean that there are more people davening with a minyan, as opposed to the consolidation, which may mean there are more people in that one minyan, but there'll be less available minyanim throughout the city for people to daven at. So Barov Hamaj Melech is not always a supreme value, because if it's going to diminish the quantity of people who are davening with a minyan in absolute terms, then Barov Hamaj Melech is sacrificed for the principle of getting as many people to do mitzvahs as much as possible. In these trying times of difficult coronaviruses, this tshuva actually came to mind when the edict came out last night in the Holy Land that you're not supposed to have minyanim or more than 10 people in any location. So I was thinking about this idea of diffusing the minyanim, which Rav Moshe spoke about, and how it's also good at times of plagues. But be that as it may, it's not, Rov HaMadras Melech is a mila, but it's not always a mila, and it's not necessarily, we shall see what he says, but it's not necessarily a mila which overrides the idea of altitosh torasi mecha, of not retaining the unique qualities which you get from your forefathers. Now, of course, we should mention also that Rav Goren, when he was the chief rabbi of Tzal, tried to introduce a nusach achid, which basically failed, but it was basically at the time Edot HaMizrach with some minor changes. So there was once an attempt in recent years to introduce a unified nusach among all daveners, which would of course simplified matters greatly, and it did not succeed. We should also mention that nusach tefillah is relatively fluid, and many changes have been made even until very, very recently, if not ongoing, in terms of nusach tefillah. So there are nusach tefillah is something which is something subject to a lot of differentiation among a lot of groups, not just the overarching general categories of Edot HaMizrach, Ashkenaz, and Hasidic. There are many different variations which developed over the years.
You gotta just be careful what you're talking about for nusach tefillah. Excuse me. Assume that the Yikar here is the nusach of the text of the Shemona Esrei, and an extra Perek Tehillim here, or the order of Seder Tehillim is less important than the Yikar of Shmona Esrei, and there, I don't know that you really have. You can't say that that's been fluid.
Oh, sure. Sure. Almost every Hasidus has differences in Shmona Esrei. For example, I'm just going to give you one example, one interesting example. In Vishnitz, I think in Bells also. I think in Bells, I think also in Vishnitz. They dive in Atochonein. They say, Choneinu Meidcha, Chachma Bina Vadas, Deila Bina Vaskel.
Okay.
They put them both. Have you ever heard that? No.
I never heard that, but.
So somebody decided, some Rebbe decided.
I kind of think Hasidus doesn't count here. It's just like.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Machadesh a lot of stuff.
Right.
They're Machadesh, but, they also, there's also a whole shift, are there 3 stars out yet so we can daven mincha? It's kind of hard for you.
Okay, fine.
As more of a Litvish, show me in the Gemara, show me in the Shulchan Aruch type of person, to just take it easy. Oh yeah, in Hasidus they do this, Hasidus do that. Right, that's me.
Yeah, that is okay. I'm not gonna. I understand you have your legitimate prejudice here, but we'll have to hold them in abeyance for a while. So let's go back to the topic here. Nishala Sashela. The question is asked. When a group of people have to make a blessing, should one person make the bracha and be motzi? Everybody should make a bracha on his own. The Gemara Nehemiah, the Gemara says, they were sitting in the base medrash, and they and they brought fire in front of them to make Havdalah. Each and every person makes the bracha on himself. They still one makes for all of them. There's more glory for the king in the numbers. Bishlam Beisel Mefarshi Taima. Beisel explains the reason. Bisham my Taima. Because suddenly Bittul Beisel Medrash. To get everybody together to listen to the bracha is going to cause Bittul Torah. Yesh Chashivut Torah Kaim Mitzvos B'Tzibur Gadol. Also very great significance. The mitzvahs in a great number of people. Kam Bisham Maskim Likoron said. Bisham also created this principle. El Shadatom, but in their opinion, whom Afriya L'Limud Torah, it is going to distract from the learning Torah. Yivar Kol Echad La'atzmo. Everybody should make a bracha for himself. Okay, Lotis go to do. This is Simon Bay's subparagraph 1. Harambam Mona b'Sefer Mitzvos Losa Semem Hey as Esachaykas at Tzibur Lagros Lifro. There's a prohibition to divide up the Tzibur into separate groups. V'nei Omer shebechlal labzeh gankein ha'asor michiluk batei dini ha'ir b'minagim v'chiluf ha'kvutzim. There's also a prohibition on dividing the batei din in the cities and having different minhagim according to each beis din and different groups. From Ruin, they said lotis go to do lotasu agudos. Now, of course, as we know today, this halacha is almost never ever adhered to, and the primary example which normally is given are the Sfiras Omer and the 3 weeks. In other words, you'll have in the same city. Some people will shave the first part of Sfira, some people will shave the second part of Sfira. Some people will don't shave all of the 3 weeks. Some people will don't shave only from Rosh Chodesh or Shavuot or Chalbo, and so on and so forth. These minhagim are things which are divided by group in public in specific cities. So therefore, Lotis go to is really, really something which it's hard to find and observe nowadays. When people were still back in the old country, everybody's lived separately, so then Lotis go to do was much more applicable. But today, when we're all polyglots and the melting pots and crucibles and whatever else we are, it's very hard to find that this is actually kept up. Okay, so Vama they said Lotis go do Lotasu Agodos Agodos, even though the pasuk itself is talking about not inflicting wounds on oneself in Mourning, but we understand, we darshan, to me, don't make separate groups. They said, somebody who keeps up a disagreement, over belav. Don't be like Korach and his congregation, who kept up a machlekas, albeit there was a machlekas, not exactly Shem Shamayim. Kach pasuk Rambam Halachos over the Zohar Pek Beis Halach Yudad LeHalacha. Ubichlal is Horazeh Shlo Yesh Shnei Batei Dinim Ba'ir Achas. There shouldn't be two Batei Dinim in the same city. Zeno Ekem Minhag Zeh Zeno Ekem Minhag Acher. Each one with a different minhag. Shadav is a Gorein LaMachlokos Gedolos. Shneimar Lotis go to do Los Asu Agudos Agudos. Don't make into yourself the separate groups. Chalukas HaTzipor Lekilos for those Yesh Moshum Pegia. There is damage to the unity of Torah. And the Torah can look like two Torahs, which of course it actually does. So I'm not so sure once the cat is out of the bag what we're going to do about it. But it would seem, and I would say it would seem because I don't. It only seems that way. But the way I think he's using there is stronger. Meaning that it follows logically that we should have one nusach in each kilo when there's no unity in the matter of tefillah. Yesh kan chashash d'oraisa shalotis go to do. As I think I made it clear, I'm not convinced that is in fact the case. Okay.
Okay. You're not convinced that you're over on Lotus Godu, or that Lotus Godu is a Doraisa?
I'm not convinced that Lotus Godu is an effect in that way, in any way, shape, or form today. In other words, people have become accustomed that, there are two shuls in the neighborhood, Sfarad and Ashkenaz, or Hasidim and Misnagdim. This is something which has become not seen as Lotus Godu in the classic case. Okay?
Okay. So all right. So there's 2 points. One is he's making a statement that Lotus Godu is a Doraisa, which to me is not necessarily clear. I mean, we have a drasha, but maybe that's just an asmachta as.
No, yeah, it's clear it's asmachta. I agree, it's an asmachta. Yeah, I don't think it's a kashash Doraisa. I agree with you. I think that's stretching it. Yeah.
Okay, and then there's the issue, but the fact that today it's become accepted that we have different kehilos and different minhagim, and one place can have multiple kehilos and minhagim is not necessarily that should still be recognized as a b'diavad.
I don't know.
That's the way it is. It's not really the way Chazal wanted it to be. It's not really the way it should be in terms of achdus of a kehillah.
Yes, what they wanted, you're absolutely right. They wanted each town to be its own kehillah, and that minhagim should change from town to town and not within a town. That was their perspective. But the reality is, and that was true for most of the Golas, for 2,000, most of the time since the Churban Abayis. But the fact that the two major centers of Torah today are in Torah life are in America and in Israel, which are hodgepodge, diverse societies, means that that's no longer realistic. And I don't think if it's not realistic, that it's something which is we want to try to aspire to, because I think, they say by Eruv, that the purpose of Eruv is to bring Shalom to the world, and we know that Eruv brings more machlokas to the world than anything else. I don't know if that's true by you, but it's certainly true of most kilos. And so too here. You want the idea of Lotis Godus to bring Shalom, but if you try to be Mavatel, people's minhagim, that's going to bring the most machlokas in the world.
I understand that, but it's more, what I'm saying is that it's a chaval that we do not have nusach achid. It's a chaval that we have multiple minhagim. It can be a bit of a mess. Look what goes on in Israel with all the kitnio stuff. And then what do you do if you marry into a family that does keep kitnios, or you marry into a family that does, blah, blah, blah. So the lack of achidut in these things leads to, if you just have to, can lead to problems.
Friction. Okay,
perspective, you should be open and understanding, take it easy, take a deep breath, don't get all worked up. That's how we Americans look at it. It's not necessarily the same here. And so my statement is, yes, this is the reality, but we should be open-minded enough to recognize that it's not necessarily that it isn't a reality lechatchila.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're not going to finish the next section today. I just want to read the first two short paragraphs, then we'll come back to it because it's going to lead us into a long conversation. This is paragraph Gimel. Ma'i Corona Gover Alti Tosho Barovam. So what is what takes primacy? Alti Tosho Mecha Barovam. Ba'anocha shorotzon yispal yachid yipaga b'yicholas lishmor b'yifga. Sorry. B'yicholas lishmor minhag avos. With the assumption that there's going to be a clash between the desire to be unified and preserving the minhag of the forefathers. Yesh levarer. Ha'im aleinu ba'ater al tefillah meshutefes. Should we forsake tefillah together? K'dei l'kayim al titosh. Or shemay kor b'rov am machriya. Or maybe Rav Am takes precedence. Mori v'Rabbi Rav Yaakov Ariel Shlita dam barichus b'sugya zu. He talks about this matter in great detail. Maskana so, according to his conclusion, yesh lishmor al b'rov am. Once you preserve Rav Am, gam im zeh go about titosh. Even if this is going to potentially damage al titosh Torah simecha. Ha-makora ilchasi al titosh urak the rabbanon. לכן יש להעדיף להתפלל תפילה משותפת, כך להימנע מאיסור לא תסגודו שיסודו מהתורה. So this is something which we're going to have to go to in much greater detail, which is really lotis, because this is something which you alluded to before, is that it doesn't seem like lotis is going to do is a real